All right. This is the special edition of Fun Football Podcast. I am extremely excited. We've had some players on the show. This is our first coach, Coach Mike London this is going to be awesome, from William and Mary. How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on this evening.
Thank you for joining us. I was really excited when you reached out. We've got, I don't know why I said good morning, but we've got some people in the comments already from Film to the Field and Louisiana boy and Med himself. Med, how are you doing, sir?
Oh, man, I am doing good. And I feel like you kind of undersold Coach London.
I know.
Quick.
I gotta.
Right. I mean, let's be real. This is a former ACC Coach of the Year. We're talking a former national champion, Coach Mike London.
Thanks, Dad. I got my dad here. Mike, he's right. I didn't play that up enough.
Two-time finalist of the Eddie Robinson Award. Come on, man.
And former Dallas Cowboy, too.
Yeah, I'm a humble guy, man. So, I love doing this kind of stuff.
Richmond graduate. I could keep. Now, you're right. I got to
the credentials is just overfloweth. So,
and I love that you played at Richmond. I wanted to lead into that, if that's okay. You played at Richmond. How satisfying was it to win that championship back in 2008 at Richmond, your alma mater? How was that experience for you?
It was surreal. I mean, obviously you go there. I played there as a player. My senior year there, I was a captain, MVP of the team. And then, the man upstairs has a way of providing different paths for us. And you never know that the path would lead you back to your alma mater, becoming a head coach here. First-time head coach at your alma mater, and you're 2008, then you go and you win it all. Was such a surreal experience. It was a blessing, the culmination of a lot of hard work, and then, players, and then other coaches, assistant coaches. So, I'm a faith family football guy. I believe in that 100%. My life stories, can attest to that. But the opportunity to win your first time as a head coach at your alma mater, first time they won a national championship in any sport, was something you'll never forget. And it's been a blessing, and I'm proud of the accomplishment. But there's much more. But I pray that the latter be greater than the former.
Great answer. I love it. And again, thank you for joining. I'm really quick. I meant to do this at the beginning, but I was really excited. Thank you to SportCoin for sponsoring this show. Thank you to Undefeated Live and PositionPicks.com. Okay, that was quick sponsors. I will hit them in full length at the end. Med, what you got? I know you've got some awesome questions. Where do you want to start?
I got a lot of questions as I try to blow out y'all's eardrums with my volume. So, there's actually one other question that I thought of while I was just sitting here chilling. But one of the things I always kind of wondered, especially someone that is in your position, is when you're recruiting a high school athlete, what is the one characteristic, whether it's football intelligence, mental preparation, or leadership, that you value more than overall talent?
Well, to have a can-do attitude, and then what goes along with that, I can do anything that's asked of me. So the qualifications of what the classroom looks like, the qualifications of what your off the field behavior looks like, what the qualifications of your conduct, your personal conduct, what the qualifications of painting yourself, your brand, as we so to speak, in terms of being a young man that wants to be educated and wants to be around other individuals that are like-minded, that can help from that standpoint. And so there's fits everywhere we go. There's kids that are going to college and maybe never have had an opportunity to do that. But then there's also schools that, the places that I've been, man, Richmond, UVA, Howard, William and Mary, they're all schools of higher academic learning. But there's guys that have to have the grades to get in school there. And so the can-do attitude of having met the criteria, whether it's SAT or PSAT scores or ACT scores, that's one of the things. And so I know college gives a lot of guys opportunities to have experiences, but the can-do part of the universities that I work for. Those are the criteria to get them in, and then we continue on by helping them realize those academic, athletic, personal, professional goals.
It's a great answer. I love it. I was
he builds men.
That was excellent.
That's the goal, you know. Whew.
No, that was great. Med, you want to keep going?
I mean, I don't want to like steal the whole show, but you know, from what I read, and I mean, I read up on a lot of different interviews that you've done as far as like getting ready for this, and one of the questions that I have to ask people is normally your influences are your family, like your father in your case, your mother and everything and all that. But I have to actually ask who outside your family had influenced you as Coach Mike London or the man known as Mike London?
Yeah, I appreciate that as well. So outside of my family, outside my father, my daughter Tyson, who I'm a bone marrow donor to, and saved her life years ago. But growing up in, playing football, you always gravitate towards a coach or a player. And I was always a Tony Dungy type of guy. And I know, in my older adult career, having been around Al Groh a lot, who was with the New England Patriots and Belichick and Parcells, that there are different ways and there's different styles of coaching that you can ascribe to. And Coach Dungy was again, faith family football type of guy. My upbringing, my background was gravitating towards that. Coach Parcells, smart guy, tough guy. Coach Belichick, smart, tough guy. They have their own styles as well. And so all of us become adaptive to people that we've been influenced by. And so the Tony Dungy approach to the faith aspect of it was something I gravitated to. But also knowing that, Bill Parcells has won a Super Bowl too, and he's a tough-minded individual that coaches hard, that demands things from his players. But there's a pendulum on the other side of another guy that that also coaches hard, but has a way about going about doing it. So I'm a relationship-oriented guy. I believe that to have a measured amount of success, that your relationship with your players has got to be paramount, particularly in today's NIL transfer portal. There's something that just came out where a high school young man can garner a deal prior to him coming to your school. And then when he signs the national letter of intent, then it makes it binding. So if you extend an offer out to a high school young man, then he can take it and say, I'm going to shop this offer out to other schools. And then when it comes time to saying a national signing day, I'm going to go to this particular school. Then because he's had an opportunity to shop those other offers out, that's where he goes. And I get it, man, but the high school, he hasn't stepped on your campus, hasn't done anything with academics or the social aspects of what you do. And so we're, the times we're living in now in athletics, again, probably when we played, I was glad to get a scholarship at Richmond. My mom said, "Don't come back here because we turn your room into a den." But now it's a little different now. So we got to find creative ways to keep a competitive balance, understand what's going on with the student athletes, but also make sure they get an education, because before, the graduation rates used to matter. If you wanted to transfer, you had to sit a year. Now you can go, not like the coach, and then go somewhere else. Go, not like the food at the cafeteria, and then go somewhere else. So that's kind of what's happening right now. We got to find a way to kind of calm the storms a little bit.
Oh, I agree.
Yeah.
And I liked what you said about the relationship building, because that's my biggest thing as a teacher. I appreciate that. That's one of the things that's most important to you, because I know Med well enough. I know that must have been a massive focus for him as well.
Well, you guys think about what you guys do as well. And I tell the coaches is that players today, they spend a lot of time with their position coaches, and you guys as teachers in the schools, they spend a lot of time with you. And if you don't get to know them at some level of what they like, their favorite artists or their music or whatever it is, then I use this analogy. If you have a great relationship, to put it this way, you don't have a good relationship with your position coach, then when you go to the cafeteria and they put eggs on your plate and your eggs are cold, you're like, oh man. And then you go to the library to order a book. They don't have the book. Oh man. But then if you have a good relationship with your coach, that he listens to what's going on with you, asking you certain things, how your parents, how's this going? Then you go to the library and the eggs are cold. You know what? Put it in the microwave. Beep, eggs are hot. Then you go to the library, they don't have the book. So you order the book. The book comes the next day. So you can either accelerate the angst and anxiety that sometimes these young kids get, or you can decelerate that by creating some normalization of having a decent relationship with the kid. So now he's finding reasons as to make it work rather than trying to find reasons as to leave. And so I just think that for me, coaching now is, can you get them to say yes? Not only the high school young men, but the transfer portal guy.
Mm-hmm.
Can you keep them here? Can you keep them at your place now? That goes back to the relationships, but can you keep them by how you treat them and the things that you do? And then can you develop them? I'm fortunate that my staff, I coach in the NFL, played there, coach at every level. And kids want to see, can you help them get to the point where they have a shot in the league as well? Because we all know NFL also stands for not for long, but it also stands for National Football League. So can you get them to say yes? Can you keep them there? And then can you develop them? And I mean, knock on wood, we've done that at our place. Charles Grant, 3rd round draft pick with the Raiders.
Yeah, I was going to ask about that later.
Great job. And he wanted to be around that kind of culture. So it's difficult, but at the same time, all I can be is myself. All I can do is say, this is what we're about. If it's good enough, let's go. If it's not, because I can't match dollar for dollar or I can't step out, then this is not the place for you. I mean, so the man upstairs has a place and purpose for everybody. And I just see it like that. No, there's no ill intent for anybody, but you got to find like-minded people that can accept what's going on. And eggs are cold, baby, put them in the microwave. I'm going to order the book, that kind of thing.
I'm loving this, man. Thank you. You know what? I was going to ask you, what is your biggest, you kind of already gave it though. I was going to ask you, like, if I pretend I'm a player right now, what is your biggest pitch? But you kind of like, if any players are watching, you already gave that pitch because you're about relationships and you're about, I like the fact that you're about continuing education because that's something as a teacher, unfortunately, I have a lot of kids that play on the football team. I deal with special ed kids. I deal with general education kids. But one of the things I tell them is I'm like, it's called student athlete. And middle school is rough because we're a little more lax, unfortunately. In high school, they have to, because in Arizona, where I grew up, there was no middle school football. It was just Pop Warner. In Texas, they start in 7th grade. You can play 7th grade, 8th grade. Thanks, guys, for watching. Appreciate you. And they can play in those grades, but they still have to keep their grades up. And in high school, they're even more strict on like every progress report. They have to be passing their classes or they can get like slowly kicked off the team. So I appreciate that that's a focus for you. And you're at one of the longest running institutions, not only in America, but, in the world. So,
Isaac, it's one of those things. I'm very visual and I use graphics to describe the process and the program. So in my office, you'll see there's a sign, there's an Amazon sign. And if you can recall an Amazon image, there's an arrow that points to the Amazon image. And it points from A to Z. So the approach when they come in there, we're gonna attack everything from A to Z. How do you take care of your body in terms of mental health and wellness? How do you handle tough conversations? How do you handle dating questions and how you treat young ladies? How do you handle tough interviews? Can you tie a tie? Can you tie a bow tie? Can you order off a menu? So we try to include so many aspects of what they will be as a young man turning into a father. That whole A to Z approach that's what it's about. And so, between speakers and branding yourself in terms of the NIL and social media, how to handle yourself social media wise. So we kind of take the whole gamut from A to Z. And then the second graphic that I use is the FedEx graphic. So I asked, hey, listen, what do you know about FedEx? And they look at, it delivers stuff. My mom gets stuff delivered all the time. And I say, well, pay closer attention. What do you see in the word FedEx? And as they start to look closer, they still can't see it. Just like a young man that comes to school, he sees a big picture, how many pair of shoes, look at the gym, look at the stadium. But then you want them to drill down into the things that are important. And I say, can you see the arrow? And they're like, what do you mean? And I say, well, then look between the E and the X. There's an arrow that points between the E and the X. So that's that aha moment that kids get once you have them in your program and you're talking about how do you have tough conversations? How do you order off a menu? How do you tie? How do you, how do you go about handling conflict resolution? So the FedEx symbol, again, to me, just represents the whole thing, the big picture. But then as they start drilling down into the reason why what comes out of your mouth matters, because you will be a husband or a father, someday. The reason why it matters how you treat women, because you may be a father to a young lady. All of us have mothers. All of us have grandmothers. So your conduct, it matters. And so when you have opportunities like that, and then they say, okay, yeah, I see, coach. I see the arrow. That's that aha moment. Like, I get it. You know what I mean? So it's like, so coaching and what you guys do is you keep talking about the things that are relevant to them, because the attention span, as we know, for youngsters, man, it's like
quick.
Man, it's so quick.
Gets quicker every year almost.
I don't
think it might be me getting older, but it seems like it.
I talk about when you get on an elevator and you're going to the 15th floor, and a CEO gets on that elevator, you better have everything you can say about yourself and what you're involved with and what you want to be, and acknowledging, the things that are important to you. That's your soundbite, because after the 15th floor, he's getting off. If you hadn't made an impression or anything like that, then you've lost that opportunity. So we got to be able to communicate with people, be real with ourselves, but also understand that what you do speaks so loud, I can't hear what you say. What's that, coach? What you do speaks so loud, I can't hear what you say. So the actions and things that we do, they're important, because we can say a lot of things, but what you do speaks so loud. So, but that's all part of that whole Amazon. I'm probably getting sued because I'm using them, but FedEx and Amazon, but I'm giving them love though. I'm giving them love.
You're giving them advertisement.
Yeah, yes, definitely.
You got it, man. I mean, it was my first day back. I got some unfortunate news at work today. I come home to my kiddo. She just wants to see me. And then when the kids come in the door next week, the biggest thing I'm about is building relationships and trying to achieve goals. And I appreciate that you do that same thing, because for me, when I pass them along to high school, my hope is that they took something away. And the biggest thing I've noticed is that they just want to connect with somebody. I don't want to sound like a sap here, but some of them, I've heard their home lives, their stories. And I mean, you don't know if it's all true, but unfortunately, there's some really rough situations at home that I've heard about. And I think the biggest thing that kids want and young adults want is to connect. And I appreciate that you're doing that there, because we need more of that in this world. So I was watching your videos today at work, and I was like, this is going to be a blast, because I could see that. So I love it, man. But all right, Med has a lot more questions than I do. So Med.
No. Well, I was sitting here and you were talking about the recruiting process and everything like that. And I was actually recruited by Montana. And I actually looked at, no, trust me, when I asked my cousin about it, it's like, tell me about Montana. Kind of like what you said, you kind of want to do your research and everything. And he was like, oh man, it snows a lot. And I'm from South Carolina. So I was like,
oh man.
So, yeah. But, you know, you were discussing the NIL deals and everything like that. And I know a couple people are already kind of commenting on that and everything. How tough is, I mean, Coach Saban retired because of it. And, you know, how tough has it been for a coach such as yourself to be able to retain the players that you had? Because like you were speaking about earlier, there's one player that's already in the NFL, Keon Coleman, who went to 3 different schools 3 straight years. How tough is it actually to recruit your own players once you got them?
Yeah, I mean, it goes back to, all right, this is what we stand for, and this is what we can offer you in terms of stability, networking, the connectivity of people that are associated with William & Mary. So there are CEOs and owners of companies that are that came to William & Mary. There are the Mike Tomlins who played at William & Mary. There's the Sean McDermotts who played at William & Mary. Matter of fact, in the mid '90s, I was my first full-time job at William & Mary with Coach Jimmy Laycock. Mike Tomlin and Sean McDermott were players on the staff.
That's awesome.
Dan Quinn and I were co-defensive line coaches. So Dan's now the head coach of the Commanders. On the staff, Brian Dable was on the staff at William & Mary. He's the head coach of the New York Giants. You know, Marv Levy just celebrated his 100th birthday. You know, Buffalo Bills, but also he coached there.
Coach.
Lou Holtz, you know. So
him too.
So the lineage and the legacy of students and then athletes, it speaks to the degree and the connectivity and the network of people. So if you can find, because you're right, because not all people. I just want to go to the league, coach. I don't care about anything. I just want to go to the league. Well, then you got to identify what you are, what you want to be, because you can't be all things to all people. And you say, we're an academic school. We're looking for guys that want to achieve in the classroom. And I've left guys at home that decided not to go to class on a Friday before a game. The rules of the team are go to class, show class, treat people with dignity and respect. Those are the rules of the team. I've been places that I know people that have no guns, no knives, and keep your hands off women. Like, rules of the team? What are we talking about?
Those are rules of a football team?
Yes. Oh my gosh, man.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But again, you have to decide like what you want to be and what you'll stand for, what you want the culture to be. So that's what we do. And again, I keep knocking on wood that guys are staying because they want to be involved in that. They want to be around that. Parents want them around that. And you just hang on. I give an example of this. I had a guy, Charles Grant, my left tackle, 3rd round draft pick with the Raiders, All-American, all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
I had another guy on my team that left and went to another school. I'm not going to call the school's name out, but it was had a big W on their side of their helmet. So he goes there, and they're getting as many players as they can to come in and fill an opportunity to say, listen, we're going to pay you this, and this. And then understand, young man, that this is incentive laden as well. So we're going to offer you a certain amount. Let's say $400,000. Coach, that's generational wealth. I get it. But they're going to pay you $200 up front. You get $200 up front. Well, guess what? Uncle Sam is like, oh, wait a minute. Taxes and stuff like that. The other $200 are based on the amount of tackles, the amount of plays, the amount of interceptions. Mm-hmm. And if you don't get those, there's 4 or 5 other players that they've also brought into the program under the same umbrella. Somebody will get that. So perhaps they'll end up getting the $400. But there's a couple of you that won't get it because you would not have met the incentives. So this player got there and saw how it was. And then I remember on our pro day, he said, Coach, I should have stayed. I should have stayed here. Because every
opportunity is everything.
Absolutely. Of the 32 teams, 28 NFL teams were at our pro day. And so, it's crazy. So, but we live forward and we learn backwards. And there's a lot of things that get in young men's ears about do this, do that, do that. And there's no game plan for them. And that's the unfortunate thing. But again, I'll just say one more.
No,
Man,
you're good.
now it's a player that's in the South,
Mm-hmm.
a school out west. Coach or a significant other involved in the family finds out that his mom's diabetic and she needs insulin and medication.
Mm-hmm.
The coach out west finds out about that. Tells the young man, hey, listen, we'll pay for her diabetes medicine. We'll take care of those things like that. So the player in the South is like, all right, I'm going because now I can take care of mom and I'm going to get, I'm going to get this money. And then they get out there. And there's no support system. There's no one around that can help them or speak into their, the nights that are tough, that are lonely. They're getting the money, but then they're like, I don't want to be here. But they're saying, I can't go back because if I leave, then the money that was being paid also to me to pay for my mom's medication, then she won't get it. So you're stuck in that pendulum of you go out because you chase the what ifs and the possibilities. And then you get there and you notice the Boys and Girls Club director, the community, the church, the pastor, the people that at the Wawa, at the food line, at the JC Penney's, you don't see them anymore. And then those kids get longing for that wanting to be around someone again. And so that's a pendulum that's happened right now, that people that are endearing to the families are finding out those things that they need. And I get it. That's important. But then someone out west or someone who just wants players to get them there, then to see if they can fill their quota, but you're going to bring multiple players now. You're not just bringing that guy. Mm-hmm. And then if they can do it, then okay, then perhaps you win because you got guys that are demonstrating that. But if they can't do it, then you don't give them the rest of the money that they thought they were going to get, because all the kids think, I'm going to bet on me, coach. Mm-hmm. And it's unfortunate, but it's a cycle that's out there. And that's just one of the examples of how you're like, why did he go there? You scratch your head and you think, okay, because of the money, but there's always something up that's part of that.
Oh yeah, no doubt. And whenever you're doing that, I mean, you're looking at the fact that you're basically trading the money for your support system.
Yeah.
And that's what it really
some kids just want the money. I mean, that's mm-hmm. true. And then what you find out later on is the management of how you surround yourself with people that really care for you, or mm-hmm. just care for you because now you can give me 6% of what I'm trying to help you do. So.
And it's sadly that becomes a bigger issue, even if they make the NFL. Yeah, no, you nailed it. It's I don't even know how to fix this system, because like with the NIL stuff right now, it's such a complex issue. Like, I don't even know. I feel like there is one simple, really easy fix, but the college system right now it's difficult because you've got really like two massive conferences right now. And then all you're having is people pile up at a few schools. It's not, I feel like you nailed it right on the head. Seriously. There's a lot of issues with it. So you have to find the right players, but yeah, it's difficult. It really is.
Yeah. There are certain people. I mean, I would say if you looked at over 80%, maybe a little higher, of the players that are out there, it's not like Caleb Williams, when he was coming out, he was getting like millions and millions. But the percentage of those players aren't as high as what everybody thinks. There are some guys that are getting some things, but not like an enormous, ginormous, if that's a word, amount of money. But
that's a word.
But people are doing it with cost of attendance. People are doing it with obviously you have collectives that are outside of your in-house NIL teams. That's why teams now are hiring general managers, because now you have to manage the money, manage the roster, the analytics of what you're doing. How do you leverage, where they would fit in terms of a sliding draft scale of talent and things like that. It's really become really interesting. About, you look around, North Carolina, they got general manager. I mean, a lot of schools are doing that now. But it's a daunting task, but something's got to be done. Again, I don't have the answers to it, but something's got to get to be done, or else it'll just run rampant, and then the haves will continue to have, and the have-nots will become less relevant, and then you'll have other schools or conferences breaking off and just saying, all right, we want to, this is what we are, we're going to be this, and let's go with it.
I love it.
I was going to say that's pretty much what killed the Pac-10.
Yeah.
So money is what destroyed the Pac-12. And, wow. That was deep.
Yeah, that was. I mean, it filters into like a lot of, this is silly, but like I'm watching like movies and I'm listening to a movie podcast about movies from 30 years ago. And while I still appreciate some of that movie, like money is filtered into every aspect of life in America. And I think we've really got to check it, because when like with that, I just think the quality is dipped, but I'm worried that it's ultimately going to have a detrimental effect to, I mean, in a lot of areas, it's happened with education as well, but it's happening. I didn't want to go super political here or anything, but it's happening with, I mean, I'm watching it happen every day with the transfer portal, and the way it's set up right now, I think we need to revert back a little bit. I think it would be a better system for the players in the long run as well. I really do.
Yeah. I mean, there's schools talking about unionizing, but you have to be careful about that, because in a union, if I'm a player and I drop 3 passes, or I don't have the measurables in terms of, you could get fired because of lack of production, or lack of the level of that's going to put you in another level in terms of, like, you get promoted, you get all these other things, but you join a union and you're not producing, based on the criteria of what your position would be, then you're up for the scrutiny, like all of us as employees, whether you don't get the raise or you don't get the merit increase or whatever it may be,
It's true. No, you're absolutely right. I didn't expect to take this turn, but that was really deep and extremely well said. And you get to see it firsthand. You can see it firsthand.
Business from high school all the way up to the pros.
I mean, they're sort of, yeah, they really are. Like, we had a couple of college players on earlier this year, and it was great. And we had 3 guys come on. It was really fun because we're only not even 2 years into this show. And we had 3 college players come on. And frankly, I could see all of them contributing at some professional level. But I mean, the NFL, you only have at most, if you're lucky in a year, 300-ish guys make it. And that's with some practice squad players. That is such a fractional, this. That is like, I can't even get how low that is versus all of the players that are playing in college football. You had Charles Grant make the 3rd round. That was amazing. And I'm sure I watched the team last year. You guys had some standout players.
Yeah. I mean, you're right. The right to work law, I know Congress got involved with it and stuff like that, saying you have a right for your name, image, and likeness. I get it. I understand. Yeah, somebody just put up there about before you went to transfer, you'd have to sit out a year.
Yeah, if you saw that.
They get acclimated to the academics and the culture. Now you can go, like I said, you can go, I don't like the eggs, I'm leaving, I'm going to another place, and just up and leave. And so before, your coach's contracts used to be tied into APRs, academic progress reports and graduation rates. Well, how can you do that now when a guy can just up and leave, and just say, I'm out of here, then go to another school and up and leave? So it's provided somewhat of a challenge to some places.
Well, and you got players that are only playing at a college like a year, like you said. So it's super hard. It'd be like, I feel like it really does the players a disservice. Sometimes I know, like the 1%ers, it's a benefit, especially the quarterbacks sometimes. So there's exceptions to the rule, but it's like, I mean, his guy, Caleb Williams, he's about to have his 3rd play caller and he's just starting his 2nd season. Like, that is not a good thing. That's rough. Trevor Lawrence, how many play callers has he had? We're on like 5 or 6 now. it's tough for them as well because they're having to learn a new system, even if it's you're going from a 3-4 to a 3-4. Well, this playbook is different than that playbook. You could be an offensive player. It doesn't matter. You could be the same position, but the way they scheme things here differently, and you have to connect with the new teammates, the new coaches. It'd be like being in the NFL and shuffling every year. It makes it difficult.
Yeah. I would add one more thing to that, knowing a lot of, you mentioned, Coach Saban, leaving the profession up.
Mm-hmm.
I was good friends with Tony Bennett, the head basketball coach at UVA, and another one of the, I was like, man, he leaves, he gets out of the profession as well, because you talk about trying to grow young men up to be productive citizens.
You're going to keep going. I'll be right back.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he just
like 30-second timeout,
timeout
or something like that. I said, that you sit in a young man comes in and he's like, I want to get paid. I want money.
Right.
Or you have to construct your roster with such that everybody that's on it perhaps gets paid, and you have a walk-on junior that's been with you. And now you have to decide, do you bring the walk-on junior back or senior, or do you supplant him with somebody else that's coming in because that person's getting paid because of your roster limitation? So it does provide such a it tugs at the heartstrings. I mean, some coaches are good at doing, hey, listen, we don't think you're going to be better than this guy, so you need to leave. Yeah, the development thing, no, that's out of the window now. We're going to go in the portal, find a redshirt junior that has demonstrated performance, because we all have the same film now. Everybody, PFF is a film service you can all get and do. Analytics guy to do. Let's do highlights on Charles Grant, his pass protections, his run blocks, twos run blocks away, any pancakes that he has, and then they have an arsenal of information that they can see that. The kids don't have to go into the portal yet. They go and reach out to people in a community or in an area and say, hey, we could do this, gets into somebody's ear. And then that somebody gets into a parent's ear or a coach's ear. And then before you know it, gets into the kid's ear, and then the kid's in the portal. But, so that's pretty, that's a bad deal too. And when it comes to ethics about doing things, but that's the world that we live in. And now is acquiring talent, coaches that have to win now because jobs may be on the line or whatever it may be. And the other thing is you have a donor fatigue base that before you raise money to meet your overall operations, your budget, keep the lights on and things like that. Then it becomes, all right, but we want some more money. So now we need a collective of money to pay these players. So now the person that's a donor is like, wait a minute, you want me to give to the operating budget, but you also now wants me to give to the NIL to get deals for players. I don't know if I'm going to do both. I can do either or. I don't know if I can do both. So, but there are some programs out there that there's deep pockets, there's deep checkbooks, and they're writing those checks. And there's some that a person that's a donor that wants to see the operation run well, the recruiting and things like that is like, no, I can't give to the collective. I can't give to the NIL. So I'm just going to keep trying to fund the athletic department or the program to keep them afloat. So there's even conflict with people that are donors now, because donor fatigue has been mentioned about what can I do both, or is it and or? And so that's one of the dilemmas that's out there as well.
Ned's taking shots.
Yeah.
That's the name of his show, is Shots from the Sideline. He has his well played. That was well played.
Yeah.
I have a light question. I just want to get in. It's so off topic with what we're doing, but I've got to ask. Do you have a favorite like game day superstition, or we've had players on and we heard some fun ones. Med had a really cool one he should share in a second. That was crazy. Do you have a pregame ritual?
That was my teammate, not me.
Yeah, it was a teammate. It wasn't him. He needs to share that in a second. It was pretty cool. But do you have a pregame ritual or any superstitions you do game day?
Say what, Med?
Or even when you were a player,
or even when you're
something you did. For instance,
Michael Jordan
wants me to tell you is we had a player. His name was Kelly Gardner, and he would have us hunt around the locker room for a cricket. And when we found this cricket, we'll take it, hand it to him, and then he would eat it.
Oh, man.
And that's how he would get psyched up for the game. And we were grossed out, but we're like, whoa, this dude's crazy, you know?
I can't beat that one. That's great. I played younger, so I don't have any good ones, but that one just I think is hilarious.
So there's two. One is, and you see other teams do this as well. But I like I said, as you guys can figure out, I'm highly passionate and emotional and things like that. And we will come up as a team, and instead of breaking it down, hey, 1, 2, 3, break that, or 1, 2, 3, tribe, we'll come together, and I will say at that moment, there's times in our lives that a person or people overlooked you, marginalized you, minimized you. There's a loved one that has probably meant a whole bunch to you that has gone on. And there's the emotions that we have that we just want to scream and yell out and just get it out of us. So what I like to do sometimes before games, get everybody up, and we don't break it down 1, 2, 3, tribe. What we do is I said on the count of 3, I want you, and I say this because my pops passed away 2 years ago, and I wear his dog tags. My brother Paul that played at UVA, my other brother Gary played at East Carolina. So we each took one of his dog tags. And so what we would do, even with players that have lost a loved one, for 3 seconds, we'd point up in the sky. And it could be, you passed on me because I didn't get an FBS offer. Dad's not in my life, and now I don't care. Or a loved one. And we just yell as loud as we can for 3 seconds to get that angst, that anxiety, that energy, that burst of euphoria or whatever it is like that, to get it out and just yell, ah! And release all that tension and release, paying homage to someone that's gone on. And it's something we do because it's like some people have performance anxiety. Some people, again, I 104 players. I got players who dads want to be in their lives now. And I'm saying, hey, listen, you don't have to invite him back into your life like, hey, come on to my game. Hey, but there's such thing as a reconciliation to allow you to say, I forgive you, Pops, but you're not in my inner circle now because I'm going to still move forward and move on. And so a lot of that is the anxiety and angst of being left behind. Now all of a sudden you're playing on Saturdays, you're on TV, and now he wants to come back in my life. You can reconciliate because you want to forgive people. You don't have to include him, but it's like those types of things are things that the rituals of celebrating, basically of celebrating when we win games. And this sounds crazy, but when I first got to William & Mary, there was a player that was murdered when I was there. Mm. And we count down every win that we have. So if we scored 15 points, same thing, we'd all get around together. We go 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10. And he was number 3. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 3, 3, 3. And yell to celebrate the fact he's no longer with us. But the win, everybody's celebrating that. And then we started out taking Gatorade and dousing each other like we won the World Series. But I'm like, hold on. That Gatorade costs too much money. We're going to do straight up water. So we started dousing each other with water. But it was, again, it was that moment in the release of a fallen brother that we wanted to celebrate. But like I said, that's probably something we've done over the years because it helps me remember my pops. And it helps others remember those that perhaps they've been left behind. But it helps those even that people said you wouldn't have a chance. You're not going to play. And man, we won championships there at William and Mary, the best season, regular season in school history. Past semester, a 3.19 GPA, the best academic semester in the history of the football program since we've been there. So things are possible. I know there's a movie out, Mission Impossible. I'm like, dang, Tom Cruise, you got 4 movies, Mission Impossible, man. When are you gonna get it right? So we're adopting Mission Possible this year. With man, things are impossible. With God, all things are possible. So again, it's the mindset. And I saw one of your questions, Isaac, was about the Howard University and going to UNLV.
That's actually one of Meds. I sent you Meds.
Oh, Meds, yeah.
Because they were amazing. So I'm not going to steal credit. That was
it was
great.
one of the biggest upset. It is. It's the biggest point spread upset in college football history.
Yes, it is.
And that we had Kalen Newton, the brother of Cam Newton. He was our quarterback. And
that's awesome.
And that whole season was about Mission Possible, was about being able to do those things, which was about restoration. Not inviting somebody back into your life that hasn't been into your life. You can decide that, but you let go of the angst and anxiety and anger for that person not being there. About you can perform in the classroom in a way that's commensurate to get in a degree because you're going to be a productive citizen. It doesn't always end in NFL. It can be CEO or CPA or anything like that. And so that's all we talked about that whole season. And as the season went on, it was just awesome just to watch it manifest itself to they're supposed to beat us by 45, and we end up beating them, and it's just one of those things that you always try to bring people together based on when people say you can't do stuff. I love it being an underdog and about a lot of things, and not making them wrong, but making yourself right. Making yourself right. You do belong. So anyway, I got a little emotional on that, but man, I always do, because you remember why you do things, what makes you who you are. And one last story, man. You guys got me on a tangent here, man. I got a bubble bath waiting for me, but that's all right. It's gonna have to wait. The bubbles are gonna dissipate. So when my dad was in the military, we lived over in air bases, Hawaii, Germany, and he would be the coach. And so we have a kid named Timmy, who'd be a guy that wasn't a very good player. But after the kickoff, Timmy would run out and go grab the tee, and he'd run back to the sideline. And I see my dad, he'd run down from the 40-yard line, run down to where Timmy was. And he'd get in his face. He said, "Hey, Timmy, that was great. You might be one of the fastest guys on the team. Keep it up." And we're looking at my dad like, "Dad, Timmy, he sucks as a player. He's not going to go in the game. What's your pops talking about?" Man, fellas, it took my pops passing and someone at his funeral telling what he meant to them. And I've been coaching for a long time, and I finally got it. Why the passion and energy? I finally got it. It was because he affirmed him. He appreciated him. He acknowledged him, regardless of his role. So what? He ran out on the field and grabbed the tee and ran back in the sideline. That was his role. So my dad was going to make sure he celebrated what Timmy did because it mattered. The best players on the team, okay, great, man. You scored a touchdown. You're an all-star. They're going to get theirs too. But he wanted Timmy to know, man, he didn't say you're the fastest running back on the team. He's like, you might be one of the fastest guys on the team. Keep it up, Timmy. I'm proud of you. Man, and it's one of those things. It was just kind of like, that's it. That's it. So, because guess what? Guess who's on the sideline watching the game, rocking back and forth? And who's cheering for you? It's Timmy. The guy that's not going in the game is rocking back and forth, cheering for you because he was acknowledged running out on the field and doing his part. I didn't understand that till after, again, it took Wilson London to pass for somebody to say that's the essence of acknowledging, appreciating, and affirming people for what they do, how they do it. We won the championship in 22. We got a ring. Trainers got a ring. Student managers got a ring. The student filmers got a ring. Everybody. I felt like Oprah. You get a color TV. You get a color TV. Everybody gets a color TV. But that's the essence of, again, trying to create a culture of everybody matters, and acknowledging that, So I went off on another tangent. I apologize.
No, you're good. My aunt died on the show last year, and I wasn't gonna talk about it. But she was basically my mom. My mom's not really in the picture anymore, so it's basically my mom. And I actually came on, and I realized it was right after I started this show, and it took me years to work up the nerve to do this. I almost went for sports broadcasting, and I had an ex who told me I wasn't good enough, and she's an ex for a reason. My wife now has been on the show with me a few times. And that was one of the hardest shows. And what you just did reminded me of that, because it honestly took until earlier this year to start to get back to normal. My wife had a wreck last year too. I told you about off the air, and I've told the listeners because I just try to be real and authentic, because this is fun to me, and it's I love teaching, but this is another passion, obviously. But I appreciate you coming on with people you just met and being as real as you can be. Yeah.
Fellas, I'd rather be a original of myself than a carbon copy of somebody else.
Well, your players they're lucky to have you as a coach, man.
It's fun. It's fun to be there because I can do all the things, yell, scream, cry. I had a birthday and they celebrated it in October, and they brought the cake in the locker room with the candles and stuff. And I took it because we won the game, and I smashed it in my face, and they went crazy. So it's just I hate being scripted all the time, because life is not scripted.
It's not, man. Life. This is life, man. Yeah. It's like I never thought I'd be here, but honestly, and this is brutal, and I'm sure you can attest, you have to learn to become stronger after the people closest to you pass away. And that was the closest one, but I've had some other close people pass in the last few years, and nothing prepares you for losing someone that matters to you in ways you can't describe, like I'm sure your dad did. But yeah, man, I'm happy that you at least had that moment afterwards where you were like, I get it, because that is pretty bittersweet, but special. Yeah. So I don't even know how to sum up what you just said, because there was so much.
Oh no,
there was so
basically,
much there.
I mean,
this has been one of my favorite shows ever,
teach us. You're going to actually realize it when they're gone. They're like, absolutely. Okay, that's what he really meant. Because the main reason why I went into coaching is because of my dad. And he passed away. It'll be 12 years coming up. So I understand completely how you feel, Coach. And, it's just, it's something that we wanted to do together. So I felt like to honor his memory, I went in and did it. So
it's that FedEx moment of like, okay, I get it. You know what I mean? When you're coaching other people or you're trying to lead them to guided discovery, how you treat someone matters. Opening the door and saying thank you and please, that matters. Right. And growing up in a military family, I mean, it's like, yes, sir, no, ma'am. And every once in a while I catch myself doing that to people you make me feel old. I'm like, that's just out of respect for you. So yeah, man, that's what it's all about, to tell you the truth.
So I have to ask you, September 13th is a very important date for y'all. You know who you played, right?
Chicago Bears.
Well, no, y'all are going to be playing the Virginia Cavaliers.
Yeah.
So I'm not just going to say it's bulletin board material because it kind of feels like it is if I ask you this, but if y'all were to win that game, how would it rate with the UNLV game when you were at Howard?
Yeah, I mean, I've been on both sides of the ledger as an FBS coach that plays an FCS team.
Mm-hmm.
Expectation of, all right, we should win that game.
Yeah.
And I've been on FCS teams that have beat FBS teams,
Mm-hmm.
and it's that day, any given day, really, it's like one of those things that ball bounces the right way. You're playing most of the time at their venues. When I was at Richmond, we beat Duke. When I was at Howard, we beat UNLV. When I was at William & Mary, we beat Charlotte. A couple years ago. So it's that moment in time that when you can capture the ball bouncing the right way, that for that moment in time, it becomes the most important, most exciting game that you can ever play. But I think for us, with a new team, because now the 6-year COVID guys have left. And so I have like 32 new players, basically. I signed 13 high school kids. So I'm kind of like Dabo. I mean, when I was in the ACC, Dabo Sweeney was coaching, still coaching. Frank Beamer was coaching. Jimbo Fisher was at Florida State,
nice.
All those guys. So, but I still believe in signing the high school kid and bringing the community along with them, knowing the Boys and Girls Club director and all that. And then we took, because of the COVID kids that left, 8 transfer portal kids, a couple running backs, 2 defensive guys from Virginia Tech. And we got a chance to be good, a chance to be really, really good. And so, but you're not set and ready to go till you play your first game, because you're your little
True
brother.
story.
You're practicing against each other and you're fighting your other teammate. It's like back in the days, you're riding in the car and you hear and your mom's like, what's wrong, Mike? He smacked me, and then it's like, I know you are, but what am I? So it's just, it's just all kind of crazy stuff. But to answer your point, anytime the underdog can rise up to a level of defeating that team,
David
the
versus
odds
Goliath.
of that happening, David and Goliath type thing. It's always, because then it's about the people that you're with. And so, that game's not till later on. So the first game is against Furman, and after that it's Maine, and then we go on from there. But, I spent a large part of my coaching career there, 6 years as a head coach and 8 years as an assistant with Al Groh. So there's a lot of feelings that you have, emotions that you have, but being the head coach, you just try to get these guys ready for the first game at hand, and then second game. And then when we play them, and let's let the chips fall where they may.
Absolutely. Sorry about that. My wife, her leg was flaring up bad. I put some biofreeze on it, actually. Sure.
Ooh.
The cruise, she was on a cruise with her grandma and she had to walk a lot more than normal. And it's just like at a high pain level tonight. So yeah, they went school shopping for the kiddo today.
You might need to wrap this up so you can put ice on that or something
Exactly.
like that.
She might need to a little bit later. I got a little bit longer. I think that helped a lot now, but yeah, we can go for a little bit longer. This has been seriously, like, we've had some cool guests. This has been one of my absolute favorite shows. I'm sure Med is just having a blast. I got another fun one for you.
Yeah.
It's game day. What is your favorite go-to game day meal? Just a light, easy one.
Game day meal.
Yeah, for you. This could be as a player too. We could go back to your playing days in NFL, in college, in high school.
Mama spaghetti with pepperoni.
Or if it's easier, instead of game day meal, if you want to go favorite, favorite snack. I like to ask the college players that. Like, one of them was he was Marshawn Lynch. He was Skittles, and the other one was, I think, peanut M&Ms.
Yeah. I'm a trail mix kind of guy that has a different
there you go.
In raisins, berries, macadamia nuts and all those things like that. And then sometimes I put peanut butter in it, that kind of thing. And So yeah.
Coke with no ice. I love this guy from Film to the Field. I mean, he's gonna have to come on the show. He's really cool. That's a good one. I like that.
Yeah. But yeah, just different snack, granola, all those things like that. Because you can crunch on it, and I used to be able to keep it in my pocket. Even as a player, like tuck down in my pocket, and
just take a snip.
Put your mouthpiece in or something like that. So
you've mentioned Charles Grant a few times. How satisfying is it for you when a player does make it to the NFL or even like the UFL or in the past? I know there's been other leagues that have gone, through the not the NFL that have that aren't around anymore. But how satisfying is that for you when a player does get to keep playing past college?
Yeah, it's great. I mean, it goes back to I've been, like I said, having been as a defensive line coach for Coach Groh at UVA, and I remember that Chris Long, I coached Chris Long, and I thank the Lord that he thought enough of me to invite myself and Coach Groh with him to Radio City, and we sat in the green room. And Chris was the second pick of the draft.
It's very long.
And to see Chris Canty, DeBrickashaw Ferguson, all those guys.
Oh,
all those guys. Yeah.
There you go.
And have guys, like Kobe Sorsdale a couple of years before was drafted 5th round by the Lions. Nate Lynn, one of my players 2 years ago, is a free agent. He played a lot the last game they played. And then Charles, USFL, Canadian League, so they're with not only William Mary players and coaches. Mike Pinball Williams is the general manager of the CFL,
nice.
And there's players that are there. So just the umbrella of William Mary alum that are not only scouts, coaches, general managers, all those things like that, man, was that's cool. Yeah, great.
Yeah, he used to run me over in practice.
This one cracks me up. A ring pop on the way to the game.
A ring pop. I remember those things, man. Yeah,
ring pops. My 6-year-old.
That's a good call.
Yeah. My 6-year-old wants to have ring pops. Sometimes she's like, "Daddy, have a ring pop."
That's funny. Oh man, no, yeah. That's good stuff, man.
Okay, I got another one for you. What's a year that stands out from coaching other than that championship year? Like, I know probably 2024 is an easy answer, but is there a particular year in coaching, it could be as an assistant, that really stands out in your memory when you're reflecting on your career?
I'm not gonna lie to you. So 2011,
okay,
head coach at UVA.
Mm-hmm.
We won on the road versus Miami and Florida State.
Okay.
And
that season,
very, very blessed to have been chosen the ACC Coach of the Year with Coach Beamer, Dabo Sweeney, Jimbo Fisher, all those guys, man. And I know football is a game that you keep score, and and the ebbs and flows of things happen, but that recognition or that year is shared with the players and coaches. And that's something they can never take away from you, and it's just I just feel so tremendously blessed to have been at such a high level with the caliber of men that are coaches, and to be able to have that kind of success. And so I'd say that was probably one of the most memorable outside of the 2008 season.
Oh, I mean, and beating Georgia Tech that season, number 12.
Yeah.
That must have been pretty sweet.
Crazy. Yeah, that was crazy. Yeah. No, yeah.
And Florida State too. They were ranked as well.
Yeah. I mean, it's this coaching profession, as you know, man, is it has its pendulums, the ups and the downs of it. But I'm thankful because where you leave a place, you hope you leave it better than what you found it. And the next place that you go to, you bring all the life learned experiences and lessons that from the place that you're leaving. So you become even a better coach, a better person. And I find myself now more talking about husband, father, teammate, those types of things, because the on the field stuff will happen. But we in my office, there's a baton, a track baton And what I like to tell the kids is that your parents have been running this relay in your life, telling you what to do.
Oh,
Do we have an internet freeze? I think. Dang, that was a good. He was on one too. That was great. I think the internet froze. Maybe phone died. I'm not sure.
might be possible.
Hopefully, we'll give him a minute to see if he comes back on. That was awesome.
We just cut off, I think, right? We just cut
Yeah,
off.
Oh, no, you're good.
You were like
in the
clear.
middle of it.
I felt like I was in
That
the
was
Matrix, like, you know, I was dodging the bullet, like Neo, you know, it's just like
Hey, Jeanette. Yeah, no,
that was great.
The Matrix.
I've got a couple more. I don't want to keep you too long, and I do. Normally, it's not so bad. I think it's the trip, but I got a few more minutes. Med, you got one or two more good ones. You want to? Thank you, Janae. We appreciate it. Seriously, you rock. Thank you to everybody watching too. Med, you got one or two more good ones you want to pop?
I
know you
got
had
one more I could end at the very end, but
okay. You want me to do mine first? Or
I
you
kind of want to ask you.
Yeah, go ahead.
You briefly talked a little bit about being an officer before you went into the coaching field.
I'm happy you asked this.
Can you tell me, hold up, let me read my question.
I'm going to hit some previous comments.
Okay, so if you did not go into
thanks for watching, dude.
Coaching, would it be safe to say that we'd be looking at Chief London right now?
Mr. First Time.
Man, I don't know about that, man. Yeah,
I love it.
when I got released from the Cowboys, my dad being in the military and being, he flew on the C-110 planes. He flew the Joint Chiefs of Staff all over the world. And so when I looked at men in uniform, men and women in uniform, I said, that's what I want to do. And so I became a police officer. And so when I got cut from the Cowboys, I remember when I was an officer, you wear the bulletproof vest and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. Normally you wear the shirt and the bulletproof vest, it sticks out anyway. I got them to taper even the shirt from the bulletproof vest that I was wearing. So when I was like, it was all tight and everything. I could barely write a parking ticket because I was so
so ripped up.
Yeah, so ripped up, But I soon became a police detective. I worked street crimes unit, and I did undercover stuff. And I think we're talking about go to class, show class, treat people with dignity and respect. Being a police detective, that's where the treat people with dignity and respect came from, because I've seen the worst of what individuals do to family members, but I also have seen, when we don't do what we're supposed to do as officers as well. But when a call is made and you run to the roar, hats off to first responders now, police officers, fire department, EMC, all that stuff. Because I have a saying, run to the roar. When you watch things that happen, who are the people that are running towards the action or the disaster or the catastrophe? It takes a certain kind of mindset to run towards the roar, and so I've always had a lot of respect for men and women in uniform and first responders, but I possibly could still be doing something like that because I've always been service oriented and watching my dad, like I said, service the Air Force for 35 years, did two tours in Vietnam. And I didn't know he went back. He volunteered for the second tour because he said he left some friends behind the first time. I'm like, yo, Dad, a lot of guys weren't coming back anyway, but he went back.
My father did the same thing.
Golly, man. Kudos to him, man. God bless him. God bless him. So, yeah.
And I want to.
2 Purple Hearts from it.
Oh, wow. 2 Purple Hearts. The first responder thing too, man. Like I'd already had respect, but I had more respect after the wife had that accident because the kiddo was in it too and she was okay. But they beat me there. And it was 2 miles from the house. And I got the message. She messaged me on her phone and I drove faster than you should. I drove like 80 miles an hour on this bumpy road up there, but they'd already beaten me there. And honestly, it made a huge difference.
Closest friends are first responders.
Yeah, hat goes off, man. Yeah.
I honestly had like 10 more questions, but I almost just want to do this again soon. This was amazing. I know Med's got another one.
I just got the one last one.
Okay, I got one more. I asked some of the fun ones. I got another fun one for you. What's a rivalry that stands out to you either as a player I'm going to go back. So high school career, college, playing career, the Cowboys, that 1 year with the Cowboys, or any of your years as an assistant, or recently, it could even be this year, like you're pumped up for Maine, whatever game I know, like every game on the schedule matters, but like as a Packer fan, I want to beat the Bears every year. I'm a Packer fan. They beat us once this year, so he's rubbed that in my face since they beat us at least 50 times. But I did the same thing to him when we were beating him.
So, I mean, all I can say is how Baltimore likes to put Joe Burrow into the ground.
We got a Joe Burrow listener. But anyways, yeah, what's the rivalry that stands out to you?
I mean,
if you want to make it 2-part, like a past one and the one you're most excited about this year, whatever.
Over the years, like, again, I played at Richmond. So Richmond, William & Mary. So I was on the other. I played at University of Richmond. We would play William & Mary. And then I became, my first assistant job was at William & Mary, and we played Richmond. So we went back and forth and things like that, you know. I've been a coach on both sides, you know, playing each other. You know, I've been a head coach on both sides. I've been an assistant coach from both sides and a head coach from both sides. So, and I think it's the fourth oldest rivalry, you know, in the United States, one of the oldest rivalries around. And so I would say, you know, that for sure. But yeah, when I was at the Cowboys, you know, it's always, you know, it could have been back in the day, the Commanders now or whoever. I mean, it was because everybody hated the Cowboys. You know, it was always, you felt like Coach Landry was the head coach at that time. It's like, get ready to go play whoever, because everybody hates you anyway, you know? So, you know, so that's what that was about.
Especially Eagles.
Yeah.
Good answer. I like it. Well done. Am I frozen? The screen's frozen. Weird. I look frozen.
You are frozen.
Yeah, I don't know why it's frozen all of a sudden. I think my computer's
a great picture, by the way.
Yeah, I love it. That is a wonderful picture of me. I can see it too. All right, Med, what was your question?
All right, so this is my last one, and you can hit that bubble bath afterwards. But when you decide to hang up your whistle, what do you want your legacy to be known for?
Wow, man, that's a great one. I want to be known as a coach that was highly relational. You know, that when I ask you, hey, how you doing? Don't give me I'm doing all right. No, we're gonna sit and we're gonna talk about it. How you doing? Because relationships matters, and men, we like to like gloss things over. We like to not really be up on some of the things that are going on in our lives, but I want to set the example that a man, you can laugh, you can cry, you can hug, you can be highly competitive, you can be all those things, but you can love your wife, you can love your kids, you can love your fellow human being, you know, love people that on the service oriented businesses, and so all those things like that, man. It's been. I want my kids and people to know that this dude loved coaching, but he loved people more than anything else.
I love it, man.
Which is the main reason why you went to William & Mary afterwards.
Absolutely. Is my screen still black? Can you guys see me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, that's great. I don't know what happened. I think my internet is just giving way, but Mike,
Dallas internet.
Yeah, this is just it's good internet. I think it's the computer, but Mike, we really, really, really appreciate you coming on. I would love to have you back on in the future.
Sure. Absolutely. I love this.
This was great. It was one of my favorite shows, and seriously, I love people that come in and are authentic, and I really, really appreciate it. I can only imagine how much fun your players have with you as the coach, man. Seriously, thank you so much.
No, and I mean, from one coach to another, God bless you, man. You're doing it right.
Yeah. Hey, Bill Murray, I believe plays for you guys. He's a William Mary guy. I think he's an offensive lineman for you guys.
Bill Murray?
Bears.
For the
Bill
Bears?
Murray, yeah. I think he's still with
Yeah.
the Bears
I think so too.
as an offensive lineman.
I have to look that up.
Yeah, look that up. See if he's still playing. I believe he might be. He
think
came as a D lineman, but then I think he got moved to offensive line.
I think so. I was looking up the players that made it earlier, and
I always used to tell my players.
yeah, Bill
'cause
Murray,
I was
Bears.
offensive line coach. So
Yep, Bill Murray. He's still on the Bears. Yep.
there you go.
Okay. All right.
Got to be the
I love it.
nastiest one on the field, Sky.
All right, man. That's it. That's it.
Really quick, I'm going to give SportCoin thank you for sponsoring this show. Undefeated Live. I know you guys can't see me. I don't know what's going on with my internet.
It's the void.
Yeah, exactly. Undefeated Live. Appreciate you sponsoring the show. Go check them out. They've got a pick'em contest for the entire season. Super cool app. Go just download Undefeated Live. Use code FunFootballPod and to positionpicks.com. You'll appreciate this, Mike. It's a fantasy college game where you can go just like pick players from William and Mary and just play against your friends for free. It's super fun. But Coach, we appreciate you coming on. This was an epic show. Med, thank you for your time, bud. Seriously, I appreciate you. Thank you to everybody watching from Film to the Field, Queen of the Premier, Louisiana Boy. Everybody watching, we appreciate it. I will be back on this Friday evening, an hour early at 8 p.m. Eastern, and I think we're going to talk off the air with Mike, but we would love to bring him back on. So thank you, everybody. We'll see you guys again soon.
Have a nice night.